Fox News alert and new pictures actually in the form of new video into Fox News now. And this is continuing coverage now of what's been breaking this hour as we've been showing you the news conference out of Ferguson, Missouri. But they also have released this video, surveillance video from inside the store where there was a 911 call to get there. There's a strong-arm robbery. And you see the man to the right there and the red baseball cap. That is who we are being told by authorities they believe is teenager Michael Brown, who would die later that day, not with a weapon on him, we're told, shot by police officer Darren Wilson. That's what we've learned, the name of that police officer today. The circumstances of that, still not reported, still not clear. But with our own eyes, and there's no audio on this, it's surveillance video, but with our own eyes, we can clearly see the man who is front and center, and look, he walks into the center of that screen. This is the same video, which later on shows that man in that red baseball cap really knocking around the store owner. But these are moving pictures. Jedediah, you're nodding.
Yeah, well, this is why you don't rush to judgment, right? Because this kind of changes the way you look at everything from the information that we had at first. And this is why I think the governor came out and repeated that statement of, we don't have all of the facts. Before you rush to judgment any more than people already have, let's wait for the facts to come out. Let's wait and see if there are any other details that emerge that change perception of this with respect to Brown and the officer. And I think this is really startling to see now.
Well, I guess, part of the problem is because we don't have a lot of the information, but what if this kid was shot in the back? You know, and I think that does raise a question of, even if he's committed a robbery and he's unarmed, should somebody be shot in the back? Now, who even knows if that's right? You know what I'm saying? Because we're told these things, but they've done an autopsy. They haven't told us what they've found. Yeah. And I think it would be helpful to know that. It'll
be a week tomorrow. And Kimberly brought up, look how long we're waiting for information. And you know, maybe it's not fair because we're not intricate to the actual investigation.
Or we don't know because
but we're part of
people
this,
aren't police officers, and they're not prosecutors, and they're not the individuals involved in this. And again, having handled thousands of these cases and reviewing surveillance tape, if they had just even released the tape to begin with, we wouldn't have been having all this problem.
Right.
Yeah. But the facts that we know that we're seeing, there was an altercation. It's called a strong arm robbery. Force was used against the store owner, okay, alleged by the suspect, who right now they're saying is Michael Brown, the 18-year-old. Some might call him a teenager, some might call him an adult. You're legally, 18, you're an adult, and he's a big individual. And if that officer is involved, hypothetically speaking, supposedly the officer was injured in the altercation.
Yes.
He has a right, legally, I'm telling you this, to use force. You're saying, yes, was he fleeing? If he was shot, that's something else. We don't know that, so we don't want to say that. But he was injured during the altercation, so there was interaction between the two.
Real quickly. And again, new tape. Now, this is coming in bits and pieces, so I just want to tell you that as we kind of put this together, you'll continue to see new scenes from this surveillance video. Real quickly, Governor, I had said we're part of the story as a nation. What's your thought on that?
Well, I think, to Kimberly's point, the public has a right to know what their government is doing. Now, they don't have a right to every little piece of the investigation, but information is power, and releasing information as they knew it early on could have prevented and at least moderated a lot of the angst and anger in that community. Because if people don't know, they assume the worst.
Correct.
So tell them something, for heaven's sakes. And the lack of information that was given to that community about what happened is part of the reason that this thing exploded into an absolute disaster.
All right, so we have now just seen, and we can, rewind and watch this many times, but clearly the description that went out, 6'4", a large person in a red baseball cap. 6'4", 290 pounds, wearing a red baseball cap was the picture that we had of Michael Brown to begin with. You overlay that tapestry on here and the facts start to come together. Kimberly?
Yes, great point, Governor. And as a governor, you would want those facts to come out. You would want to do it so that you could try and reduce the threat and risk of violence in your community to protect lives. Let's wait for both sides for all the information to come out before we rush to judgment.
Amen.
We've learned that in the past.